Hey, welcome to the Justin and Mike Show, where we're going to share proven business growth strategies to help you grow your business. We're going to also tackle any challenges you have. And I'm super excited to have Justin McCullough on the line today. How you doing, Justin?
Mike, I'm great. Love talking about growth, and I have a strange addiction to challenges and making them turn into solutions. So I think this is going to be a great conversation. Looking forward to it.
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to create a show here, and I want to be fully transparent to the viewer here. This is our first show we're doing together, and I'm hoping this thing, we have 500 episodes on this thing. But
yeah,
this is something that people are going to get used to. I want the viewers to know that they're going to see us once a week for hopefully a long time. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Well, here's one thing I want to talk about you. You are the master at so many different things when it comes to working with your clients, but right off the bat, a lot of business owners hear the word strategy, but what is business strategy? Explain it, dumb it down for kind of the average small business owner. What is business strategy and what does it even mean?
Yeah, you say dumb it down, but I'll just tell you, like, it doesn't matter if you're pre-revenue, you're in the startup phase, or you're all the way into corporate America. This is like the definition that I always use. This is what I train my leaders. This is what I train my clients. Like, this is the definition, right? Good strategy is always about prioritizing our limited resources and the things that we have leverage around on the things that are valued and valuable so that we can create the future that we desire most. That's strategy in a nutshell. Like, it's not strategic if we're using imaginary resources, because that's not real, that's dream, right? We're dreaming about something. It's not strategic if we're working on things that aren't valued or valuable. It's not strategic if what we're working on that's valued and valuable isn't for the future we desire most. Like, it's kind of like doing leg day whenever you're actually in an arm wrestling competition, right? Like, you can do it and there's a benefit to doing it, but if your whole purpose is to win an arm wrestling competition, you need to work on those guns, right? So that's what I mean. Like, strategy is actually really, really simple. And I think a lot of people have a complicated view of strategy because of like offsite planning. Let's do a retreat for strategy. Let's go do a strategic session, right? And that makes it sound like something amorphous and something vague, but it's super specific. Limited resources applied to what's valuable and valuable, what's valued and valuable, with whatever leverage that we have, right? Leverage is people, it's processes, it's technology, right? Because that's our amplifier. That's what makes it like even more powerful, right? And then around a result that we want in the future that we desire most. So that's it. That's what I call strategy and good strategy, and I make sure everybody understands that so that everything we do can be strategic.
Okay, that's about as simple as you can get it, which I love that. But let me ask you this question. So if it's that simple, which I don't think a lot of people have a definition of it that way, why do business owners not have strategy? Like, what do you think is causing this, where maybe it's a day-to-day grind, I don't know what it is, but why do you think, how many times have you met with a client and you said, what's the strategy? And they probably looked at you cross-eyed. That's right.
No, it happens all the time. Most people don't know what they want, the result they want. Most people don't know what's valuable and they don't know what's valued. And I know this sounds like obvious words. And they run into daily action. They know they need to work hard, and they have a lot of ownership on making sure they're successful. And so those things are on their mind. And so they think, oh, I got to take care of this, I got to take care of that. And it's a very to-do list, or it's a very fire drill, or it's very tactical, right? And a lot of our tactical actions aren't strategic. And the way we know that is because if you were to draw a plus sign and you were to do the vertical around impact and you were to do the horizontal around effort, and you were to say, where's all my effort going and how impactful is it? You're going to really quickly discover what's strategic or not, right? Because if we're doing a whole lot of stuff that's not impactful and it's high effort, then that's not helpful. If we're doing a whole lot of stuff that's low effort and low impact, well, then we're just busy. We're on that hamster wheel, right? And so a lot of times what I find is business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, they're all sort of stuck in the rat race of just being really, really busy on stuff. And the other part is they're either looking too near term, as in I need to make this thing happen today, and this thing really isn't all that impactful, or they're looking so long term, they're investing all their cycles of energy to something that's a year out because they think they're being strategic, but there's a pathway to that strategy that's unclear to them. And so they're tying up all these limited resources on something that can't be useful until 12 months from now, right? And so it keeps robbing them of time and resources. That's not strategic either. But that's why I think a lot of guys just don't have a good framework for understanding strategy. And so they default to staying busy, doing quote unquote work instead of doing strategic work.
Okay, so now that if they know that strategy is important, and you kind of just gave a simple definition of it, what would be like 2 or 3 simple steps they could take just to even initiate this thing to get going? Like they watch our video, they go back to their team. What are 2 or 3 simple things that they could do just to get the ball rolling even?
Yeah, well, so one part of it is if we know that we want to do something that's valuable for the desired future that we want most, let's just define what's the future. Is it this week? Is it this month? Right? If I want my sales team to be able to grow phone calls, do I want that growth to look like 1 call a day, 10 calls a week, 200 a month? Once that thing is clear, that's the thing we want in the future. That's what we desire most. Then we got to ask ourselves, what's the impactful things that we can do that'll make that reality true with our limited resources? And I have an actual formula for this. I call it VIM, vision, intention, and means. And this is the easiest way to make sense of good strategy. Because VIM, remember when we were in high school and we had to learn how to solve for X, solve for Y, and solve for Z, those variables? That's exactly what this is. It's that simple. So if you're listening, you can write this down. Vision, intention, and means. It's like solving for X, Y, and Z, okay? And I'll just tell you really quick. Vision is the thing I want. It's attainable, it's sustainable, and it's compelling. Don't confuse this with a mission statement way out in the future, right? It's the thing I want. It's attainable, sustainable, and compelling. Intention is all my willful action of what I will do, and most importantly, what I will not do. So it's the things I'll stop doing. Means is all my time, talent, tools, resources I have to put to bear. So we have an overlap here, right? So we need to know what's valuable and valued so that we can apply our limited resources. That's our means. Our limited resources is our means, time, talent, tools, resources that we can put to bear according to the thing we want most in the future. That's our vision. So the good strategy is always in VIM, vision, intention, and means. And so I just make sure that our good strategy lines up to VIM, and I always train my teams what VIM is. We can say, is that in VIM or our VIM is broken? Because is the vision there, is the intention there, and is the mean there? Real easy example. We had a vision to put on this great show, and we want to do it in roughly 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. That's our vision. That's the thing we want. We both showed up on time. We did all that stuff, right? Intentionally. I also put a little spotlight over here to try to help with my lighting. That was an intentional action. And then I had the means, right? You and I both carved out the time for it. I got this little light going. We got our recording tools. So we've got our time, tools, talent, resources. So we have this vision called let's put on a show. We acted intentionally by not doing other things with our family or whatever else. And then we applied our time to do it. So that's a very small example of putting VIM in practice and being strategic.
Well, when you think of that VIM, so intention, I wrote the book Atomic Actions, right? So I'm all about action. So when you think of intent, and I wrote about intentional action, by the way. So when you think of intention, I think you can probably several times every day, you can question your own actions in your company, whether you're the owner or you're somebody, you're an employee. What are my actions right now? Are they intentional? And are they based on the vision? And what are the means I'm going to use with that intention? Would you agree?
There you go. That's exactly right. And when we're at a cold start for that, like when I come into these organizations in the first 90 minutes, I try to do a VIM process. And I always talk about 4 core questions. And in fact, that's something I'll bring up towards the end because I want to help you guys have it as a download. But like, it's 4 simple questions that get us on that path to thinking strategically and being able to apply VIM. And once it's clear to you, it's really just like you said. Once you know what it is, you can't unsee it, right? And then you constantly use it and you use it to your advantage. And I'll tell you, I've grown and scaled a whole bunch of companies. I brought, for example, a $5 million business unit to $100 million in a couple of years, using the simplicity of what is strategy, what is VIM, and a couple of things around building high performance teams. Because ultimately we want to create leverage, and leverage only comes in 3 places in this context: people, process, and technology. And the reason I focus on that is because when we're doing VIM, we need leverage. Leverage is always in the people, processes, and technology. So VIM helps us get to leverage. Leverage helps us get to the results faster. 5 million to 100 million faster, right? And of course that means we got to have your kind of stuff in the pipeline. We got to be doing strategic work like what you do, Mike. Like if we're not working on our market dominating position, and we're going to talk about that, right? Like if we're not working on things like that, that's not good strategic work on our part. We're not using VIM correctly. Unless of course our focus isn't on growth. Maybe we want to do some navel gazing and we want to work on spreadsheets. Well, if we do that, like we need to have a really good, clear, compelling reason why we're doing that, because where's the value in improving our spreadsheets? If we can't really say where the value is, well, we just want to make sure the CFO has a better spreadsheet. What does that mean? Better for what, right? That would be an example of what's the VIM here. What are we trying to do? Where's the value?
Now, when you think of vision, just for a split second, could a business owner confuse vision with like mission statement, vision with like, you know, their brand statement, right? I mean, are those different? I think I know the answer, but I want you to share it with the viewers. Is there a difference? And if there is, what's the difference?
So I'm glad you brought that up. Most people think of vision and it means mission statement, or they think it means like Simon Sinek's big why, right? The big why. Why am I here? What's the thing in the future that I desire most? And that is true. That is a vision. But what I like to do to help sort of unlock this is think of it like a field of vision. And so what I train people on is vision is connected to a field of vision. And so, not to use a sports metaphor, but it's really helpful. If we are on a football field and we're looking goalpost to goalpost, we can see it. We can see those goalposts. We can see the hash marks for the yardage, right? We can see sidelines left and right. And then when we put people on it, those people on it, we now get to see some things moving and happening, right? So the vision, to your example, the vision is win the Super Bowl. But the reality is in today's game, the vision is 3 more yards, complete the pass, right? Get the yardage and get it to the guy that runs the fastest, whatever. Those are the things that really turn into the thing I want. I want 5 more yards. I want a first down. I want a successful completion in the end zone. And so most business owners don't realize, though, they're constantly trying to get shots on goal. And when they have too many shots off goal, they're putting their energy, it's like constantly throwing the ball out of bounds, right? But they're busy and they're in the game, but just boom, another shot out of bounds. Like, and if nobody tells you, hey, like that's not a good shot on goal, then how do you fix it, right? Well, how do you fix it is you got to know what strategy is. You got to know what VIM is, and you got to say, why am I doing this? Throwing it over here. And you can ask yourself and analyze that. So field of vision helps us see that. And the better job we do to get everybody in the same field of vision, we get them aligned and in context. And so just like when everybody comes to the huddle and they're like, what play are we running? That's everybody getting VIM together. You know, what I found was sometimes simplicity and something very easy to repeat could have a huge breakthrough in your business. And over the last 20 years, I have found 4 questions repeatedly asked in the right context, no matter if it's about being stuck or triaging a situation or a crisis or driving clarity for strategic planning. These 4 core questions have been instrumental to my success as a leader, as a business builder, and as a mentor. I use this with my clients, and I hope you'll use it too. I call it the 4 core questions. It's available at 4corequestions.com, and it's a free download and a series of videos that you can watch and learn the process. I promise you it will make an impact on your business if you implement it. It is very simple to understand and follow. It's very simple to do, but it makes tremendous results when you apply it and when you teach others in your organization to do it as well. Check out 4corequestions.com. What play is this play? Is it a running play? Is this a passing play? Boom. Then they go do it. They execute. So vision, execute. Vision, execute. Vision, execute. And everything in between is intentional, and it's about managing those resources, right? Vision, execute. Vision, execute. And when you have your long range vision, i.e. I want to get to the Super Bowl, you know that short range vision, execute, is so that you can get to the Super Bowl. It is not so that you can get to the parking lot, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is I used to play football, by the way.
Okay.
So when you talk about throwing football, out of the field, it makes me laugh because I think how many business owners and businesses are doing that on a daily basis for years.
Yeah.
Right? And then we come along, we have a chat with them, and that analogy, I might steal that analogy, by the way, because I like that one. Because, I mean, that's so visual, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're throwing the ball out of bounds. What are we doing here?
Right.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, Mike, what most often happens is schoolyard football, where they're doing the lateral passes back and forth, and the quarterback turns into the running back, and then before you know it, they've lateral passed, and they usually put that
they've gone nowhere.
That silly music to it, right? Like it's just all over the place, right? But man, they're busy and they're being scrappy and they're doing everything they can to not fall down. Tell me that doesn't sound like a lot of businesses. We're just doing everything we can to make sure we don't fall down, right? You got to run some plays. You got to put your systems in place. You got to keep going in the right direction. You got to get that vision aligned. You got to be intentional. You got to put your means in the right place. You got to stop doing everything, because we take on a lot of that that responsibility to do something. And if it's not strategic, we keep being busy, but we never complete things. We never get it done. We never get it to the finish line, right? So we don't get the results. And so we just continue to build up activities that don't pay off. Well, there's no leverage in that. So we've got to be really clear on how we apply our limited resources to get the result that we desire most. It's easy to get stuck. It's a lot easier to get unstuck with 4corequestions.com. That's a free framework I prepared for you. Go check that out. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. We'd love to chat with you there. And we've got some links in the description that can help you in your small business for impact planning and any strategic work you might be doing.